evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 4, Episode 43, X-Dynamics Evolve 2, DJI Mavic 3 Pro new updates. Hope everyone is doing well. And people, guys, we got a lot to talk about tonight. You may think there's not a lot. There is a lot, okay? And we're going to be spending most of our time talking about the Mavic 3 because there's just a ton of information I'm going to be passing on to you guys. Hope everyone is doing well. We have Ray Kelly is in the house, TEB Drone Flyer, Drone Master, Mr. Stephen Ewing from across the pond, my friend. How are you? Trina Weeks is here. John Olson is here. Johnny Drone Flyer is here. Bob Ruler is here. And that's it so far. And Drone Views Media and Okie Tom. Maddie's Drone World. Maddie, welcome. What's up, my friend? All right. We can rock now. Maddie's in the house, okay? Like I said, we got boatload to talk about tonight. I mean, it's just, everybody thinks, oh, well, we know everything. Well, there's a lot of information I want to pass on to you guys tonight, and I think you guys will be really pleased with this, okay? Now, for news and updates, okay? Now, this piece of news is pretty incredible here, okay? We all know what's going to be happening on November the 5th, okay? Well, let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, we have a DJI Mavic 3 launch party. That's right. We have a launch party. Right now, I have it scheduled for 8:55 a.m. on November the 5th. That's subject to change based on, DJI putting out a formal announcement or anything. November the 5th, I believe, is still a firm date. So stay tuned. I'm going to, save the date, as they say, okay? Save the date, November the 5th. My guess is it's going to be at 9 a.m. My guess is also going to be it's not going to be a live release. It's going to be a soft launch like they've been doing. It saves them a whole lot of money to do it that way. So that's in 16 days, okay? Now, I've asked Marcus and Ron to be on, and they reminded me, and I completely forgot that. Guess where they're going to be? They're going to be in the great state of Texas, okay, for spin up. I think Ron is getting there Wednesday. Marcus is going to get there Thursday. So hopefully they'll be able to get on with me a little bit after 9 a.m. on the 5th, so we can take a look at things. We can take a look at the official specs. We can take a look at the official prices. We can find out what Marcus did when he hit the buy button, what Ron did, and what Bill's going to do. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to make it a fun time, okay? Because we've done this before. These are fun. It's a great time, and it's a lot of excitement regarding this. This is something we've been probably waiting for almost a year. I would say probably almost 2 years. I know it's been 3 years since the Mavic 2 came out, but this is something that's been in the works for a while. So stay tuned. Got a lot of stuff. This is just gonna be awesome. So want to set your watches, set your calendars, mark your date, save the date. November the 5th, 8:55 a.m. We'll be live. It may be sooner, it may be later. It depends on when DJI is going to, whatever time that they put up for their announcement. And again, I firmly believe this is going to be a soft launch. It's not going to be, we're not going to have an in-person release because no invites have been sent out. I'm on the list, and nobody's been given any invites. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, Marcus and Ron can get on with me. And I've asked some other individuals, and guess what? Everybody I've asked so far is going to spin up. Maddie, if you're available, I'm going to drop you a link that morning. I know you'll be en route. I know I asked Johnny Drone Flyer, and Johnny's going to be en route as well. So I may not have a lot of people to choose from here. We may go it solo, but be that as it may, we're going to still have some fun. So and hopefully, if the hotel Wi-Fi is working fairly decently, Ron and or Marcus can be on, and we can share in this excitement. So that's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Look forward to that. I mean, I can't say enough about that. All right, and I want to say this as far as news and updates. Wasn't that a great show on Drone Nation last night? I hope you guys tuned in, because I'll tell you what, I had a blast. All right. Ron and Marcus have a top-notch show. It's on. Every show is great. Okay. Every show is great. They have a top-notch show, and it starts the week off on the right foot. Great guest last night. Captain Ray Kelly was on. Ray, you're awesome, and you have awesome insight, and you know your stuff, and you do a great job. And Ray informed us for the South, I think it's officially South Florida Drone Meetup. I think that's what the name of it is. But anyway, it's the next April, okay? And he already has entertainment booked, okay? So you can ask Ray about the entertainment he has booked, or go out to the Facebook group page and take a look and see. So it's going to be fun. I'm planning on being there, as long as there's no humongous outbreak of COVID going on around here, and the missus is willing, we'll be there. So, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully better weather than they had this year, because the weather was pretty bad. It was very windy, and they couldn't get any flying in. So let's see, Grumpy Vlogger is grumpy. Hey, yes, Grumpy Vlogger is in, and he said Judy is getting better. Lloyd, that is great news. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We've been concerned about how she's doing, so we really appreciate the update there. That's awesome. Very, very, very good to hear. So, yeah. So that's where we're at. So that's where we're at with all of that. And like I said, excuse me, we got a lot of fun coming up. Okay, we got a lot of fun coming up. Now tomorrow. We're having. We have a release tomorrow. Okay. Da, 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 da. Now this is going to be a formal one. All right. They're having it's going to be. They've invited people there, and this is the camera that you've seen. And I don't think. Do I have an article on that? I don't think I do. Thought I did. No, I don't. I don't have an article on it. Okay, but it's going to be that the camera, and it's going to be part of their 3-prong release. And on a week from tomorrow, on the 27th, it's going to be the Action 2. It's going to be coming out, and then what's coming out on November the 5th. Now, this is going to be something I can tell you. It's going to be for professional photographers. I mean, if you're a hobbyist and you want to get this, by all means, go for it. Okay, but I think it's going to be expensive. All right, you're gonna pay some serious coin for this. So stay tuned. We'll make sure we get all the details out and published out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page, so you guys can check it out if you want and if you're interested. But for my vantage point and where I think most of us sit, that's going to be something that's not going to be, something that is going to be meaningful to us. Now, for people who are professionals at it, like our good friend Original Dobo, I'm sure it might pique his interest, or Billy Kyle, because they both fly drones professionally for a living. They earn money that way. So, that may be right for something like them. So stay tuned, and I'm sure there'll be videos out on it, and I'll get some videos posted out on the channel so you guys can go ahead and check that out. And again, I think the cost on that is going to be pretty high. Now, when we're talking about cost here, I know one of the things that we haven't talked about, and I didn't talk too much of cost. Lauren Donauer, welcome, Lauren. Glad to see you in the house tonight. Metro Drones, Bill, welcome. Good to see you here. JSK Enterprise. One of the things we haven't talked about is the price of the Action 2. And that's one thing that I wanted to spend a couple of minutes and go over right now. Now, we all know the GoPro is at $399, and that's as long as you get their subscription service, and a lot of people have done that, and it's good. And you know, my feeling about the GoPro is, and from talking to Ron and watching his video, you know, they tweaked last year's model. Okay, they gave it some tweaks, and they've kind of upped the ante a little bit on here. Is it significant? Probably not significant, but they've improved it. Okay, it is improved. Now the Action 2, like we've talked about, it's going to have separate modules. It's going to be ideal for FPV drones. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. That's going to be a lot of fun. There is an FCC filing on that. We found that out on Drone Nation last night. Our good friend Lon Dennard reminded us that anything that has Wi-Fi is going to have an FCC approval on it. And we're going to do a deep dive on the Mavic 3 here coming up in just a little bit. So stay tuned. This is going to be good with the Mavic 3 tonight. You're going to want to watch this segment of the show, guys. Okay. Trust me, it's going to be good. I did my homework today. All right. So price on the Action 2. All right. I got to think it's going to be in the same ballpark as the GoPro Hero 10. I don't see it being more than $400, really. You know, they want to stay in competition with GoPro. I think it's reasonable. I think that's probably what you're going to get. Now, that's probably for the base model itself. To get everything else and all the accessories, you might spend another $150, $200 on that. Okay, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have full details on that coming up next week. It's going to be out on the 27th. There hasn't been a time announced for that yet, but if there is, I'll get that posted out on the Facebook group and Facebook page. Now, the articles that I use, and I want to kind of make this clear to everybody, I always post the articles that we talk about here on the show out on the Facebook group and page, and there are links in the description as well for that. So if you want to reference these articles, please do so. You know, I highly encourage you to look through some of these articles, you know, when we talk about some things, because sometimes I don't have enough time to go over everything that I want to talk about with you guys. So be that as it may. All right. We're going to kind of move on from that. But Action 2 on the 27th, my guess on price, and it's just a guesstimate, $399. Stay tuned. And yes, I think that's going to be available at Best Buy, Amazon, and DJI all at the same time. I don't think you're going to have any problem getting that. All right. Going to switch gears here a little bit. All right. Now, X-Dynamics Evolve 2 reviews. All right. Now, there have been several out there. All right. And, you know, Captain Drones had one, and our good friend Original Adobo has had one. I think Billy Kyle's had one. And, you know, it's a mixed bag right now on this. And you know, our good friend Original Adobo, he calls it like it is. And you got to love Ken, because he doesn't mince any words on it. And I don't know if he got a bad unit or not, but what we saw and what he experienced wasn't good. And I'm hoping that it was a bad unit. I'm hoping X-Dynamics learned their lesson from the first Evolve. You know, but the one thing that he did say, you know, and a lot of people are talking about, even though the controller is incredible, and the amount of information you get on it and what's available on it, it does weigh a lot. So, you know, that's something to take into consideration. You know, it's a make or breaker. No, it's not a maker or breaker. They may have some kind of lanyard hook on it. I don't know. I haven't taken a close look at the controller to know that or not. But remember, the X-Dynamics Evolve 2, it's a big drone. It's not small, and it's also big in price. Okay. You know, you're probably going to spend about $4,000 for something like this. So are people going to, is this something that's going to pique everybody's interest? You know, say probably inspire 2 pilots? Probably not. They kind of have to prove themselves. All right. And I'm hoping Ken maybe gets another unit, because, you know, I just have the feeling in the back of my mind that he got a pre-production unit that wasn't fully baked. So, and Ken, if you have any comments on that, please let us know. Drop me a line, post a comment here. If you've been in touch with them, because we're interested to find out. Let's see. Ken got a very used unit that had one crash to its name. Leonard, wow. Thank you for posting that. Okay. I didn't know that. That's wow. Okay. Wow. See, and we talked about this last night on Drone Nation, and I'm sorry if I'm going to kind of repeat something that I said last night, but we kind of talked about this and said, you know what? X-Dynamics marketing department, they need to get their act together, because when you send these out to reviewers, okay, and especially somebody like Ken, all right, he's going to look at every bell, every whistle, every nook, every cranny. He's going to shake that drone out a lot, like a lot of us would, who would be given a unit to review, okay? And we're going to talk about the good, and we're going to talk about the bad. And wow, Leonard, thank you for sharing that information. Appreciate that. So, yeah, that's kind of, well, guys, I don't know. Is that something that's a showstopper right now? Probably, okay? That probably is. Yeah. So here's what, that's what we have going on here, all right, with X-Dynamics. And I was hopeful that they learned their lesson and they had time, because they were on the cusp of coming out with it back when the pandemic hit. And I'm sure, it's a lot of things got derailed at that point in time. So we'll see. And seriously, Ken deserves X-Dynamics. If you're listening to me, send Original Dobo a good working unit, a new one, so he can fully test it and post a great review. That's coming. That's coming from all of us, because, that's what I want to see. All right. So if you can do that, we'd all appreciate that. So, all right. Now, it's one of those things that I think, for me, okay, Autel Evo Nano. All right. Now, we've been talking about it the past few weeks, and I wanted to give you guys some updates about this from my standpoint. All right. One of the things I can tell you, I'm going to get one. Now, I'm not going to get one right away. All right. It's probably going to be, I may ask Santa for one for Christmas. I don't know if I've been a very good boy, I might get one under the tree for Christmas. I don't know. So we'll see about that. All right. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to get one. I'm excited about them. I think Autel's got a good thing going here. I think it's going to provide a very serious challenge to DJI. So stay tuned to DJI, because I expect a Mini 3 sometime early next year. I don't think they're going to let Autel steal the show as far as this is concerned. Now, the other thing with Autel is this, and it's not so much a supply chain issue, I'll call it this, okay? It's not so much, those container ships sitting off the coast of California right now. That's not an issue, okay? It's manufacturing, okay? Autel does not have the manufacturing capabilities of DJI. That's all. That's a fact, okay? That's something you take to the bank, guys, okay? That's a good comment from Lauren. Good comment about the Evolve too. Okay. I expect where Autel's going to run into problems is, I think demand is going to exceed supply initially here. So I think if you want to be an early adopter of the Nano, get it as soon as it hits the doors. Okay, I don't I can't emphasize that enough. So I think they've made an initial run, an additional production run of it, and that's where this supply chain could come into play a hand in this. Is, let's say, supply demand exceeds supply, then people are going to be waiting for a while, and I think that we're probably going to find that to be the case. So if you really want to get one, you may want to put a deposit on one. This is just me. This is just my personal opinion. I'm waiting. I have a huge cash outlay coming up on November the 5th. So otherwise, I would be, if the Mavic 3 wasn't coming out, we'd be going here, guys. Okay, we'd be going here. This is where I would go. But I think it's going to be a great drone. The specs look great on it. The camera looks great on it. The obstacle avoidance looks stellar on it. The runtime looks great on it. Got color choices. I wouldn't be too picky about color. I would, as long as you're able to get one there. I think that's going to be great. Just reading some of the comments right now. I think the demand supply issue that we're deal with all types of supplies are definitely going to affect DJI and their competitors. Drone pilot. Yeah, I think it is. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with the Mavic 3 because I have some thoughts I want to share with you guys on the Mavic 3 tonight. So I got a lot of thoughts I want to share with you guys on the Mavic 3 tonight. So, yeah. So, Autel Evo Nano, it's going to be a great drone. If you want to get it, my advice is off soon as you can buy it, because I think once their initial supply goes out, I think there may be some stuck on some of these ships out there. So, and also too, like I said, they're not as a big manufacturing outfit like DJI is, so it's going to be harder for them to keep up with this demand initially. So just bear that in mind. Now, they're building 2 models of this, and then they're building, the Evo Lite as well too. So that's going to play into this. There's a lot of logistics here for them to handle, and we'll see how this goes. I'm real hopeful. I want Autel to succeed. Okay, I really do. Mavic 5 already coming out. Yeah, Lloyd. I wish. I've been Rip Van Winkle. I've been sleeping for a while, I guess. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know where I came up with that. I have no idea. No idea. My thumb is hovering over the buy button. They tell me I can get one by November the 5th. Yeah, well. Looking at some of these comments here. You're probably right, Ray, as far as the Mavic Air 2 is concerned. And Air 2S, you'll probably see a lot of them for sale. There is a lot out there already for sale. I did see that. All right. It's time. All right. And like I said, we got a lot to cover here. Hopefully Ron and Marcus will join me shortly. But we're going to get started because there is a lot to cover with this update. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to touch base with here is yes. Let's go ahead and share the screen here. Now, DJI Updates Go4 App ahead of Mavic 3 launch version 4.3.46. Okay. The app is currently used to fly the Mavic 2 Pro and Zoom, as well as older drones such as the Phantom 4 Pro. It also does the Inspire 2 as well. The updated version of DJI Go4 app is 4.3.46. According to DJI, the update adds support for iOS 15 and fixes certain issues and optimizes overall app quality. We haven't recently seen any updates for the DJI 4 app is DJI's newer drone models are all using the Fly app. The last update was 8 months ago here. So during the launch of the original Mavic Mini in Brooklyn, and he meant to say Mavic Pro 2 in Brooklyn in the fall of 2018, a DJI employee told me the DJI Fly app was the way forward, and the Go4 app was too complicated to keep working for older and newly introduced DJI drones. Furthermore, the Go4 app was considered not to be user-friendly, although it does offer more options to fly your drone and change settings versus the Fly app. The DJI Fly app interface was designed to be simplified and intuitive, compatible for Mavic Mini, Mavic Air 2, DJI Mini 2, DJI FPV, DJI Air 2S, DJI Mini SE, says DJI. So what do we make of the Go4 app? Short of the Mavic launch that is scheduled for November the 5th. Is the update simply needed to keep the Go4 app functioning well on latest iOS and Android, or will the DJI Mavic 3 actually use the Go4 app? And is there a split between what app is used for consumer drones versus the more professional drones that will use the Go4 app? Or will we see an updated version for the DJI Fly app to unlock more features and make the app more suited for drone pilots who will fly the Mavic 3 professionally? Let us know in the comments below what you think of the DJI Go4 app ahead of the Mavic 3 launch. Okay, that is a lot to digest there, guys. Okay, that's a lot to digest. And I wanted to present this to you guys to kind of get your thoughts and see what you guys think on this. Okay. Yeah, G-Boy. Hey, G-Boy, welcome. Glad to see you tonight. I'm not a fan of the Fly app compared to the DJI Go4 app. Supposedly, the Fly app will be getting a huge makeover for the Mavic 3. I hope so, Maddie, because it needs it. All right. It is an old code base. And let me speak from a programming standpoint, because I've been in IT for 30 years. I was a developer for a long time. And as you know, I do software quality assurance testing right now. It's an old code base, and maintaining old code base it's difficult and it's tedious, and it's very time consuming to make those changes. I will say that. On the other hand, it might be easier for them to insert the Mavic 3 into the Go4 app. All right. As you know, the original smart controller used the Go4 app. So, for that, now, yeah, it's been since been updated. But is this something? Is DJI gonna? I kind of here's my thoughts on this. Okay, they can go either way on this, but my thought is they're probably gonna go towards the Fly app, and like Maddie said, I think they're it's gonna have a huge makeover for November the 5th. So stay tuned for that. While there's some things I like about the Fly app, the Go4 app, see, the one thing that I like about the Fly app compared to the Go4 app is you didn't have deep menus. You didn't have to go down 3 menus to find something. I think that's a good feature of it. All right. The Go4 app, however, gave you more options to do things. So, and here's another, some food for thought. All right. The Fly app is geared toward consumers. Okay. Your Mavic minis is now your minis, your Mavic Air 2s, your Air 2S. Okay. Mini SE. Those are all consumer drones. All right. Strictly. Mavic 3 is going to be, it's a borderline. It's a, you want to call a prosumer drone. It's going to be between professional and consumer. So what app does DJI choose to use on this? Okay. It remains to be seen. All right. Maddie may be right. The Fly app may be getting a full makeover for this, but they could still go with a Go4 app. We don't know. And what are your thoughts on that, Ron? Welcome.
Bill, I just clicked on. I didn't even hear any the pre-show chatter, but I do want to welcome everybody out in the chats tonight. See a lot of our good friends out there in the chat. I see Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, out there. I hope Judy's doing well.
Yes, Judy is doing well. He posted that earlier, so
good.
Wanted to drop that by you. we're starting on.
What are we talking about, Bill?
We're talking the Mavic 3, and we're talking 3. Originally. There's a lot to talk about here. We're talking about the Go4 app and the update. And now our good friend Maddie is reporting that the Fly app is going to get a huge makeover in time for November the 5th. But, I was trying to point out the pros and the cons of using each app for the Mavic 3 because, we think of the Mavic 3, you think of it more as a prosumer type of a drone. It kind of falls in between, professional and consumer. And, the professional end would probably call for something like a Go4 app with deep level menus, but more options available. So, it's a coin toss at this point.
Right, because we had all assumed that the Fly app was just designed, for more hobbyists, like for the Mavic Mini series and the Mavic Air series of drones. We never realized that it would, maybe, we don't know yet, take over and be the only app. A lot of us assumed the Go4 was done, but now that they gave it a refresh, made it compatible with iOS 15, maybe not so now.
Yeah,
and I don't know if we'll have any confirmation for sure which app will work with the Mavic 3 until maybe that launch date of what is the 5th, Bill?
Yeah, it'll be the 5th. So yeah, you're right, Ron. We probably won't know up until that day and that time. There's really been no hints.
Experienced guys like you and I have experienced flying both apps.
Yeah.
So it won't be a big deal for you and I to jump either one. But there's a lot of people that are newer to the hobby that we are, Bill. They only have experience with the Fly app. So them all of a sudden have to switch to the Go4 app could be a little bit of a wake-up call or whatever.
True. Very true. So, yeah. So that's, it's a coin toss as far as that's concerned. So I think that's something we kind of want to stay tuned to. What DJI is going to do with this. It's going to be interesting. And Hay put out a pretty good article about that. So, that's some pretty good food for thought as far.
And not only DJI, but Autel, when their Nanos come out and Lights come out, they will have a special app for those too. So it's not just DJI. Autel will be following the same track where they may have an app geared more towards their professional drones and an app more geared to their consumer hobbyist drones. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I don't know if you saw today. I think you probably did. Hay put out an article, and aerial photo from Mavic 3 shows high dynamic range and detail. And I don't know if you've seen any of these.
Well, we know high dynamic range is the full wording for HDR.
Yeah. So, it looks authentic, and everything that he was talking about in the article, 1.7 megabit JPEG file. It's a resolution 4096, 2416 at 72 DPI. It's not a raw image, so it's hard to determine the flexibility of the photo to allow for manipulation in the post. It has look at the balanced colors and dynamic range, no blown out highlights or shadows. The aerial photo seems to be an HDR image with a lot of detail that was processed on board the Mavic 3. Now here's another one with a little bit more detail, and then it goes into that apparently was just maybe holding the drone still and taking a picture. This is a Tibetan yak. And then down here, it looks like that original shot from what they said in the article, there was a panorama, okay? And they kind of took some detail. But as it said, obviously this is pretty high up, but the detail...
higher than 400 feet, Bill.
Yeah, that is not 400 AGL.
But remember, folks, that's only a U.S. regulation. That's not a world regulation.
Yeah, see, and I think this was over in Tibet, so which is a very mountainous region, and the detail on this is fantastic. And I think it's the real deal. I suggest you guys read the article. I think it looks fantastic. I think we're in for a real treat, Ron.
Yeah, and I know the high-end guys are going to shoot raw photos and edit them all in Lightroom and so on. But for a lot of the audience, they want that in-camera process, super good-looking JPEG. And by what you just scrolled by, Bill, it looks like this will deliver a real nice photo, again, right out of the camera. Again, I know camera guys like Lauren, who I see in the chat. He's taking his 5 exposures and, doing all his blending and coming up with something. But I mean, it is important for a lot of people to have good in-camera photo processing, and these do look quite dynamic. Now, of course, most of these photos you show, Bill, have a lot of dynamic range in the photo itself, so they make for a good image. How you really see a good camera is, Bill, you take a picture of something that's not real vibrant, see how it does with that.
Yeah, and you're exact. That's a great point, Ron, because you really find out how that camera works and how it behaves. And for a lot of people, I mean, I know for you, for me, for Marcus, for some others, we can play around with ISO settings. We can play around with filters. We know enough to be dangerous, as far as that's concerned. But for let's say for like a new level hobbyist or somebody that's not been around drones that's going to get something like this, they won't have to do a thing. Okay, take some of these pictures and it will come out incredible.
Just like the phones.
Yeah.
If they have a high-end phone like iPhone or Samsung or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, one of the other things here, of course, and let me pull up the article. Okay, now this was real interesting, and I saw this on Drone DJ today, and I know, we've been talking about how I've said, and I said last night on Drone Nation, and by the way, thank you guys for having me on, and it was a great show. And if you didn't catch it, please watch it. It was a great evening.
Yeah, welcome, Bill. Thanks for coming on last night.
Ray Kelly.
Good feedback. Yep.
Ray Kelly was fantastic last night, having him on, and looking forward to his meetup coming up. Now, this article on Drone DJ talks about, could supply chain chaos disrupt Mavic 3 Pro's launch? Okay, and I'll invite you guys to read the article. But one of the things that I was kind of formulating some thoughts after reading this article today, Ron, and where I think the problem is going to be this. DJI has an initial supply already sitting in the warehouses, okay, over in California, New Jersey, Atlanta, Chicago. They're in the warehouses already. They're ready to go, all right? And I know, the big boxes have probably got an initial supply as well. Like
hopefully Amazon has their units strategically placed around the country too.
Exactly. Okay. Where I think this is going to come into play is probably going to be maybe, let's say, a month down the road. Okay. And it's getting near Christmas. All right. And, let's say Mavic 3. Okay. And I'm going to say this. It's going to be like the original Mavic Pro all over again. Okay, it's going to be an explosion. All right, DJI is going to be selling these like hotcakes. They're going to be coming out left and right. All right, where I think they're going to run into a problem, Ron, is closer we get to the holidays. If they don't get the supply chain issue solved by then, we're going to see another Mavic Pro not having them in stock, kind of an issue like we did back in 2016. Not because DJI hasn't produced them, but because of the supply chain issue that potentially could be going on right now.
Yeah. So, kind of what you're saying is, if you wait around to order or whatever, it'd be maybe 6 weeks like the original Mavic one. But I do want to point out, I read the same article you did out of Drone DJ, and not that's a good article. They laid out the whole supply problem and the ships and so on, and everything they have in there is what you read in all the publications. But I mean, that article was just delays of shipping in general. They didn't have one detail in that article that was to DJI supply chain or anything in particular, Bill. So I mean, they could well be right, but it was all just speculation, especially as how it applies to the DJI. So,
I agree 100%.
But again, I still agree with you. If Apple's having a slight delay on getting their iPhones out, everybody's in trouble, whatever, I mean, and I kind of going to say your words for you. If you really want this Mavic 3, be ready to order it on day one.
I agree 100%. And I think that's the message that, we need to be ringing that alarm bell loud and clear. If this is a drone that you have wanted, get your piggy banks ready now. Okay.
Yeah.
Get your buy button finger all lubricated and ready to go.
But who I feel sorry for, Bill, is the people that aren't sure and they want to sit back and watch all the Billy Kyles and Aldrin and Stasios and all the big channels get all the reviews out. They want to sit there and study those reviews, Bill, and then they want to make up their minds. But then when they go hit the buy button, it'll say like backed up for 6 weeks. So I feel bad for those people that aren't sure and want to see the reviews.
Exactly.
Because not everybody has their mind made up. They want to see what it can really do, and I don't blame those type of people. If you're going to put this type of money out, you want to be sure, don't you, Bill?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you see Lauren's comment. I'm not ordering a Mavic 3. Gotta love that humor from Lauren. That's good. That's a good one. One of the things that I found today, I think we all know Henrik, Tech Drone Media. Okay, Great channel, great guy. I've talked with him several times, chatted with him several times. He's a great guy, and definitely, if you haven't subscribed to him, please do so. Now, he put out a video, and I want to, I'm going to show, and I dropped it in the description for you guys to take a look at. Now, what he is saying is, okay, read the title. DJI Mavic 3 has no CX label confirmed by FCC database. Good or bad news for you? Does it carry a C mark or C class identification label? As this will have a high impact according to the new EASA EU drone laws 2023. Okay. And what that means is, will it fly over in the European Union? And if you watch his video, apparently this means it's a no-go for the European Union. Okay. And he explains in there, and he does a great job on this as well. Why he says it's not DJI's responsibility. It's more on, and it's not the FCC's responsibility. Okay. And I highly encourage you to watch this video. Of course, my friends overseas, please watch. Henrik's a great channel. Subscribe to him. Please do so. And please watch his video because he explains it pretty well. So this is something to stay tuned for. Is this a temporary thing? Is this something that's going to change over the course of time? I don't know. But stay tuned.
Are the new EU rules even more confusing than our rules?
Yes, they're even more confusing. And he's put out another one that talked about, even with like the Mini 2, that there's going to be restrictions on being able to fly the Mini 2 coming, I think, in 2023. So they're getting real strict over in Europe as far as that's concerned. I mean, they're really clamping down. And why they're doing this, I have no idea, Ron. I have absolutely no idea.
Wow. You have that FCC database thing up there. I don't think we talked about that in the show last night, but I saw it maybe after the show that they've even discovered the FCC thing for the smart controller.
Yes, I did see that. I did see that as well. And see, okay, you can see there's a C here. Okay, UK, CA. See some other information here. Now, one thing here. Okay, now this is some good information here, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last night. Now, this is from the FCC Grant ID database. L2P is the Mavic 3 Cine. The L2A is the Mavic 3. Only the L2P was tested since, according to the declaration from the applicant, the electrical circuit design, layout, components used, internal wiring, and functions were identical for the above models. The difference between the L2P and the L2A is the memory is different. L2P has one more SSD than the L2A. Okay.
One more SSD than the L2A. So they has two and the A has one. I mean, what's that saying?
I think that's what that's saying. So
one more.
I think we're going to have a lot of memory on there, Ron. That's really kind of a signal for that. My guess, and this is just off the top of my head, okay. Now, if there's two on there, my guess is it would be probably 500 in each one for that. So maybe we're getting maybe 500 for storage. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, well, think about it. If Hubson could put 128 of internal storage in theirs, why can't DJI top that, right, Bill?
Yeah, and I think they will. Okay, CryptoMan 5000 just reported there's no panel to approve the new C label requirement. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So, yeah, that's going to be very interesting to kind of see where that goes. As far as that's concerned. But yeah,
if they're not able to sell the Mavic 3 in Europe because of these restrictions, it may let more units available for other countries, Bill.
Yeah, that could be very possible as far as that's concerned. Now I wanted to go ahead and bring up, now this is what it looks like. I know because I had some questions on this. This is actually what the filing looks like on the FCC Grant ID database. And you can see it takes a lot. You kind of have to decipher because not a lot of it, you don't see Mavic 3 immediately through a lot of this information here. Okay. You'll see coming down here, original equipment. It'll list the frequency ranges for this. And this is, if you're an electrical engineer, this is going to be right up your alley. If you're not, it's going to just be double speak to you as far as that's concerned. Now, here's some application forms, the applicant information, FCC ID, person at the technical contact, long-term confidentiality in a short-term and long-term do apply to this. I wanted to go down here, test firm information. This is who actually tested it. Equipment authorization waiver, grants, and here are the grants that are actually listed for this. You don't have permission to access. Okay, you can only go so far on this. Okay, some of that information's blocked. You can't even see it. And I wanted to go through this just to kind of show you guys what some of this information looks like.
That's interesting to see, Bill.
And I wanted to pull up. Was trying to find.
Oh, Bill, can I interrupt for a second? I want to wish Greg Pittman a happy birthday. He says he's got to go for his birthday dinner. Good night, everyone. So big happy birthday to our friend Greg Pittman. And
yes.
Greg Pittman contacted me. He will be at Spin Up on November 6th.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday, Greg, from all of us here. I hope you have a good one. I'm not finding the links that I wanted to find on this because you'll be able to see now with some of them, they protect them, and it looks like it's protected on this one. I think they've locked some of the things because the other day I was able to bring up a couple of PDFs, and I'm not able to find those right now, and I don't know why. Yeah, access denied.
They're locking things down, huh?
Yeah, they locked this down since this came out.
Probably because they know it got hit a couple million times since then.
Yeah, and that's why they do that. Now, I think we're going to see more information come out, not less, as the days go on. I think we'll see some more pictures. I think we may even see a video or two of the Mavic 3, maybe in flight. We may see the actual footage from the Mavic 3. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, guys. Bill, I need to interrupt for just a second. We've got some breaking news that you guys are going to really be interested in.
What's that?
So John Coopy just sent me this over, and I'm going to ask for the screen here.
Sure, go for it.
Share screen. Sorry about that. Give me just a second. Share, and right here. So can you guys see my screen now?
Yep, sure can.
Okay.
So this is Brendan Carr of the FCC at the top there.
Yes.
He says, today I called for commencing the process of adding DJI, a Chinese drone provider, to the FCC's covered list. DJI drones.
What's a covered list, Marcus?
Well, I know I just looked that up to try and figure that out myself, Ron. I do know that Huawei is on that, so I believe it will restrict the sale of DJI products. So let's
include the Mavic 3.
Well, I can't, I don't know precisely, Ron. I just thought you guys would be interested in this. It just came down just a few minutes
It says
ago.
DJI drones collect troves of sensitive data from images of the U.S. critical infrastructure to sensing body temperature and heart rates.
Right. We can't afford an airborne Huawei. And then if I click on this, this just goes into detail about the national security risks of DJI. So, Bill, I apologize for interrupting your conversation.
No.
But I thought you guys would really, while you were
Now,
on
Marcus,
the
who
air,
was the gentleman that's issued this statement again, and what body of the government is he associated with?
the Federal Communications Commission.
So the FCC, the same people that are approving this database.
That's right. So I looked up what is the covered list, and you guys can see it right here. Section 1.50002 of the Commission's rules directs the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau to publish a list of communications equipment and service, covered list, that are deemed to pose an unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States, security and safety of the United States persons based on, I could click on that if you want me to, but I think at the end of the day, the fact that we know that Huawei is on that list, and you cannot buy a Huawei phone in this country, you cannot buy Huawei communications equipment. I'm just saying, I suspect this probably isn't good for our hobby.
Well, let me interject here for a second. And Marcus, thank you so much for sharing this tonight. One of the things that I can tell you from my ham radio experience, okay, there's a company called Baofeng, okay, and they make handheld, people call them walkie-talkies, but they're not walkie-talkies. They're called HTs or hand talkies, and they are ham radios. And one of the things that they got in trouble for was with the FCC was their output was too high. Okay. You're limited to 5 watts with these radios. They were cranking out 8, 10, God knows how much power. Okay. Which in and of itself, if you think about it, it's not bad, but you're holding it up and talking to this, those waves are going through your head. Okay. And it's just not good. And they got put on a list. There's some, you try to go buy them on it. You try to go buy them and try to get them. Unfortunately, it's a little too easy to get them because our friends like Banggood and AliExpress and so forth sell them, and there's no restrictions on getting them in when they should be restricted, and they are from the FCC. So they still make it into the United States. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's some comments out in the chat saying, Stephen Ewing is saying, didn't this happen before? Well, they got put on the entity list, and what that is that there's certain parts, electronic devices that they can't buy from United States suppliers. That's what the entity list is. So this is different, and I know. I wish I could tell you the exact definition. It's something we'll have to research. All of us will.
Yeah.
But I do know they say Huawei is on that list. And if that's the case, and let me say this, if this is truly the security risk that they deem it to be, I don't want to contribute to that. Do you guys?
No, none of us.
But I do want to know for sure that the security risk is based on actual information and not just on the fact that it could be.
Totally agree. And again, I want to make sure that everybody in here knows John Coopy brought this to my attention, and thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
For bringing that up.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to kind of interject here, and thank you, John. We appreciate that. With this, I don't think this is something that can go into effect like right now. Okay. I don't think this is something that we can just say we're stopping it. Okay. completely stopping sales. Here's some food for thought. All right, and I can, and I'm going to go out on a limb. I bet if we talk to Rick Smith, he could probably give us the skinny on it because he is an electrical engineer and he knows this. Okay, tell me how a DJI drone like a Mavic 2, an Air 2S, and so forth. Okay, sensitive infrastructure in the country and information. I'm at a loss. You know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying.
Because a lot of that sensitive infrastructure is no fly zone anyways.
Yeah, I mean, they're equipped, and there's a lot of people that would BITCH, and they do when they can't fly within 5 miles of an airport, and they have to get a waiver and all this. Okay, and there's no fly zones, and that's why a lot of people have bought Autel, and and that's going away as far as Autel is concerned. So I'm not seeing this here. I just
and what I don't understand is almost all our cell phones are made in China, and all those cell phones go places drones can't go. They can go to sensitive infrastructure and be allowed to film.
Yeah,
record devices, and there's billions more cell phones in this country taking pictures and videos and getting online and made by Chinese companies that can be sent back to China.
So, Ron, what you're saying is exactly why you can't buy a Huawei phone in this country.
Right.
So
yeah.
what I'm saying is, clearly, I just don't think they would be doing this for the fun of it.
And actually, Marcus, I didn't follow the Huawei story all the way through, but when I did follow the story, the problem was more with the Huawei internet routers and router devices. They were the ones who were really worried about. I mean, I know the whole thing, but the routers was the big concentration of the government.
Yeah, they were because local telcos. What Huawei did is they were able to copied, quite frankly, products from Ericsson and other European companies and American companies. They literally copied stuff from Cisco and so forth, and then improved on it. They did their own engineering and improved on it, and were selling it cheaper than what you could buy. They literally kind of ran the competition out of business. But when they investigated these things, they found out that a lot of that information was going back to China. So
yeah, and that's the point I think Bill and I try to make. I mean, maybe the government can't say yet because maybe it's secret information, but they did say in the Huawei they actually found chips and things that were doing this. But as far as I know, the U.S. government has not, found any chips, any mechanical devices in these DJI drones that they are saying that are doing this stuff.
Now, I remember, and I think it was, I'm not sure if it was February or January, there was another independent audit of DJI, of their drones, and they did not find anything with DJI drones. Now, that the Army stopped using them, and I can understand the armed forces not using something like a DJI drone. I get it. I understand that, all right? I understand maybe even I know they stopped the Forestry Service, in the Department of Interior. They're not using DJI drones right now. And I get it. And I understand that. Okay. But what I don't understand is Ron and Marcus and Bill and all our followers out there who are flying DJI drones. We're flying them over ponds. We're flying over the Atlantic Ocean at sunset. I'm flying it over the Gulf of Mexico at sunset. I'm catching a good sunrise here. Marcus is doing his thing in the Snake River Canyon. They're going to have, it's a lot of just, it's a nothing burger as far as that's concerned. I get it.
Look on Google Earth, right? I mean, we've all said that before, but I'm still saying they wouldn't be taking action like this just for the fun of it. So there has to be.
Yeah, I mean, there may be more there that they can't say yet. I definitely understand that. But as far as we know right now, this is all based on what could possibly happen and not what did happen until we actually see the proof, and we may not see.
There's I just put the link in the chat, so anybody wants to take a look at that Twitter.
Thank you.
So this guy is saying that he is going to propose that they put them on that list or start the process to get them put on that list. So,
okay. So I wonder if they're putting lists, and I don't know how long the process takes. U.S. government could take a long time, but they'll be able to sell until they're actually the list is actually, a done deal. I don't know what the proper word
yeah.
is.
So that's a good question, Ron. So what does that do to our existing equipment? Obviously, if could they block the app and stuff, and then all of a sudden our drones couldn't take off? I mean, who knows what could happen, right? So anyway, I don't know, guys.
Now, Bill. Okay, if they do get put in this list and the Mavic 3 cannot be sold in the U.S., would that prevent me from flying to Calgary, Canada, and have my good buddy Lauren Donner have one ready for me and me bring it back?
Absolutely not. But here's the thing. Okay, would customs let you bring it into the country?
And could you even fly it because it knows where it's at, and they could block it via the app? We know this, right? Your phone knows where you're at. So
yeah, it's kind of the thing. Like when these drones get stolen from a store, they're bricks. DJI will disable them.
So the other thing, guys, is Autel. They're based in Shenzhen. We have never heard any of these rumblings with Autel. So this is something clearly that's DJI specific. So it makes me think that there must be something going on. I don't know.
I think, and this is just off the top of my head, number one, we want to get some confirmation on this too. Okay, not to doubt John and your article, Marcus. But I think we need to double check this because we're in a information. Who knows?
Do you see what Drones View Media said? Just one comment back.
I will add this. Brendan Carr is the commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission. So
okay. Well,
the DJI drones are only spying on U.S. They must not be spying on the European countries.
Well, here's one thing, and think about this. Okay, I don't think even being he's a commissioner, I don't think he can make recommendations. I don't think he can enact this. Okay, I think this has to go above his pay grade.
Here's the exact wording, and you guys can deduce what you want. Today, I called for commencing the process of adding DJI, a Chinese drone provider, to the FCC's covered list. So commencing the process. What that process
called for, called for is the key word. So he may call for it, but the person at the other end of the phone may have not been down with it.
I'm telling you, they published it, so I wouldn't hang my hat to. I mean, they're serious about it if they published it. That's what I would say.
No, this is something I think we're going to do some research and stay tuned. And one thing I will say, I don't think right now. It's not going to jeopardize tomorrow. It's not going to jeopardize the Action 2. It's not going to jeopardize the Mavic 3. Okay, I think something like this is going to take some time to enact. I don't think this isn't going to happen overnight.
Bill, I want to apologize to you for derailing your show, but
no.
I thought you'd want to hear this.
Now, you came in with breaking news. This is, all the stuff we're talking about the Mavic 3 won't mean a hill of beans if it can't be released in this country.
Yeah,
I mean, now, Bill, we might as well switch and start talking about the Evo 3 Pro or whatever.
Yeah,
which isn't on a list.
It's not. It's not going to derail anything that DJI has planned this year. Next year, I'm not sure. But it's not going to derail what we have this year, and we'll do some digging on this, and we'll check.
Won't people be afraid to buy it if this thing is true? Or will people
listen, Ron? I'm already going there. I'm already thinking that I'm going to. Do I want to spend $2,500 on something that in a year could be disabled? Yeah,
especially when you can wait a little bit longer and get an Evo 3, it's going to do the same thing.
Then that's exactly where I was going with it, Ron. And let me tell you Bill, can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
We all talk about buying American and so forth all the time. I've been flying the Skydio 2 all day today. I did that big update that they had, and that thing just always blows me away for what a phenomenal product it is. It is just amazing. I was going in and out of trees, and that thing, you guys saw my testing with the stupid Hubson where it couldn't even find a tree but this thing would just dodge between the trees. I mean, so we have a lot of good technology right here. The complaint is, as usual, that controller, the controller and the range are not what they should be, but that would seem to me to be a pretty easy fix. So let's hope that Skydio gets serious about consumer drones again and get something going for us. So just a thought.
Yeah,
hope so.
I mean, yeah,
Hope
I mean,
so.
we waited, we waited a lot, the actually in drone terms, Skydio 2 is kind of an older drone now, and there's no indication that Skydio 3 is coming anytime soon. So, I mean, right now it's hard to pin all our drone hopes on a company that doesn't seem to be all that invested.
Great point, Ron.
The drone market. I mean, now I'm saying this stuff behind the scenes. They may be working like crazy on a bunch of consumer drones, but outwardly they make no, it doesn't look like they're very interested in the consumer drone market. But that's just me saying that.
Yeah,
I want to throw something out there before we kind of wrap things up, because I know Ron's going to have to go over to Mikey's show, and I want to toss this out there. There could be some bad actors here that are trying to get this to happen, and get DJI off the map. Things like that have happened before. And
not to get political, but there have already been stories written about the fact that a lot of this is just to give the American drone companies. I don't even know what the American drone companies are outside of Skydio, and other drone companies a chance to get strong in the market. That somebody, and I don't want to say politically, but since somebody with a lot of power is trying to do everything they can to disrail DJI's basically monopoly in the U.S., and that's a wild story. I have no facts.
Yeah, you're just speculating, Ron. Yeah. That's understandable. But let me add this.
And that's not my speculation. That's just stories I read. I don't speculate that.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to say is, I whatever this is, I don't think it's political at all, because this process, the entity list and all that, started back with the Trump administration, and clearly now we're in the Biden administration, and it's continuing. So that tells me that this isn't just some kind of political stuff. It's somebody's political agenda. That's what's kind of giving it some gravitas to me. There's something going on there, because it keeps coming back to DJI. So,
yeah, we don't know if the FCC is, like an old-fashioned organization that they're not really politically appointed. They work no matter who the president is. They do the same job. I don't know that, but maybe that's the case there. That it doesn't matter what the administration is. They do their own thing to the best of their abilities. They don't worry about the political climate.
I want to correct Crypto Man. He's saying Skydio is Chinese processors. They are not. The Jetson processor is by NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is actually a Taiwan company, and so it's not Chinese at all.
Right. So, all right, Ron, any closing thoughts here for tonight?
Well, Marcus Keenan blew us away there with that bit of news at the end. First impressions, you just don't know what to make of it or whatever. I know, Bill, you tried to calm the waters here, and I hope you're right that it won't make any difference short term in the in DJI short term future. But something it's definitely worth following. And I'm not telling anybody not to get a Mavic 3, but it definitely it going to cross my mind before I hit the buy button. So I want to thank everybody out in the chat here, and one more happy birthday for Greg Pittman, who's probably already gone. And I also want another shout out to Lloyd. Lloyd's out there, Lloyd Mendenhall. That Judy's doing better, and he can jump back in the chat again. And everybody else out in the chat, thank you for joining us. And Marcus, thanks for popping in with that kind of a bit of I'll say shocking news. Is that an appropriate word, Bill? Shocking.
Yes, yeah. You can say that.
Yeah, it was to me, but so we're all going to be doing some research into what the that rule actually means, what the covered list actually means. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Marcus. We appreciate that. And, we'll definitely be doing a deep dive into this in the next few days and see what's going on here. But I think for us, I think present course, present speed, still, keep forward as far as that's concerned. I'm going to focus on the product. DJI has a launch tomorrow of that camera platform.
Love their stuff, huh? Just love their stuff. I know.
And their Action 2s next Wednesday. That's coming out. And actually, tomorrow is actually a live thing at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for this camera. So, I'm going to watch it while I'm working on my laptop and take a look and see. But see what's going on with that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And I say, I can say this. I would say, there'll probably be a grandfather clause or something like that. And I think we'll be exempt from it. I think it'll be from a certain point in time if they do try to enact this. So we'll see.
Yeah, or could they? I mean, who knows? The thing is, we don't even know what the real issue is, right? So it's kind of hard to say.
we don't know. So yeah. I think it's good that John saw that and we called the attention to it, and it deserves some digging. And I want to thank everybody in the chat tonight. Great chat. It's been tremendous. Okay, and it's still a time to be excited, guys. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. So stay tuned. We're going to have that launch party. We also have that wonderful event coming up in the great state of Texas. So, there's going to be a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are going to it, and I hope everybody has a great, safe time as far as that's concerned. Remember, guys, as always, it's always a great day to fly. Take care.